the Queen City, the Bridge City, the Gateway to the North. These names for Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert, respectively, give their cities some personality. For Yorkton, the city has seen its fair share of fascinating nicknames, each of them with a story to tell.
I'm Hayden DeGrow, and I'm the Culture and Heritage Specialist for the City of Yorkton. I love learning history, and teaching people about Yorkton's past is a proud part of my job. Join me as I highlight fascinating people, places, and events from Yorkton's history and take you where these places can be found today. This is Yorkton Retold.
Long before Yorkton became a hub of activity, the prairies were seen as a gateway for opportunity for settlers all across North America. The governments in both America and Canada passed acts that gave away land for free for homesteaders, with a few amendments. To advertise this new act, the governments released posters and leaflets to immigrants and the facilities that accepted them. This is an example of one of those leaflets. If we look at the top, we see that the region called Western Canada was declared the new El Dorado, a reference to the mythical city of gold in South America. This showed what the government was trying to advertise. This, and many other leaflets, gave some clever nicknames to the area that Yorkton now sits on. As we see in these leaflets, other titles were given to the area include the New Homeland and the Last Best West. As the railways arrived, Yorkton gained a new reputation in the province. The first railway, the Manitoba and Northwestern Railway, ended its route at Yorkton. This meant that the town was the last stop, making it the place where settlers came off the trains and spread out to their homesteads. As we can see on this postcard from 1918, Yorkton was known to be a hub of railroad activity. The trains we see on here were all heading to what Yorkton looked like at the time. The best part is that all three railways that intersected in Yorkton are featured on this card. From left to right, we see the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, the Canadian Pacific Railroad, and the Canadian National Railway. But what of the fourth train labeled GNR? Well, this was an interesting thing back in 1918. At this time, the Great Northern Railway, an American railroad that ran close to the Canadian border, also wanted to run to Churchill, Manitoba. They were proposing to run to Yorkton in 1918, but eventually dropped this idea when Canadian National Railways was formed. This is why, on this postcard, the railway was mentioned, but it never really came to fruition. An unofficial nickname in Yorkton at the time was the Crossroads of the Parkland. As agriculture took precedence in Yorkton, new industries popped up. One of these was the poultry industry. One particular part of this turned out to be turkeys. In this cute newspaper photo from around 2005, one can see that Yorkton became known as the turkey capital of Canada. The industry brought in plenty of income and economy to the city. However, it did not last. In 2005, as Yorkton's economy had changed and evolved, and the city was trying to relabel itself, the city decided to drop this nickname. This is why the cartoon here is showing a turkey carrying a suitcase and is captioned, "Ready to leave." It shows that the bird is moving on from Yorkton as the city moves on from them. Just as the First World War was rising in Europe, a new development was proposed in the south area of Yorkton. Titled Gladstone Park, the developer J.W. Sherman and Company advertised their new area as greatly as possible. The company released this pamphlet in mail flyers and at community events across the eastern prairies in an attempt to drum up interest in their new sites. The pamphlet contains facts and photos from the city at the time, showing everything from retailers to schools to the industries in the early 1910s. One of the most memorable is the series of titles the developer gave the town: the center of eastern Saskatchewan, the center of judicial district of Yorkton, having the best collegiate in Saskatchewan, the grain center of Saskatchewan, and the center of the richest lands in Saskatchewan. Though many of these can be considered exaggerations on the part of the developer, they do indicate the economic potential in Yorkton at the time. Sadly, Gladstone Park never became a reality, and the company moved on. The land that development would have stood upon later became the Logan Green soccer fields, Yorkdale Central School and its grounds, and a pair of apartment buildings. Despite this, the titles in the pamphlet proved true as Yorkton's economy continued to grow and diversify. This led to the Yorkton Chamber of Commerce adopting a version of one of the titles as their own, adding it to their seal in 1913. As we see here, the Chamber declared Yorkton to be the commercial center of eastern Saskatchewan. This is a title that Yorkton still can lay claim to even to this day. In 1928, Yorkton became Saskatchewan's 8th city, reaching the milestone population of 5,000 on September 3rd of that year. To celebrate this achievement, the new city council released invitations to a public meeting that recognized Yorkton as a city. On the broad side of that invitation was a nickname for Yorkton, the youngest city of Saskatchewan, Canada. Yorkton was able to keep this title for almost 30 years, when Estevan was incorporated as a city in 1957. Another nickname the city of Yorkton had gained as its economy grew was Yorkton, the treasure chest city. By the time the Second World War ended, many different industries had entered into Yorkton, and as a result, the city was booming. As the city was, and still is, the largest city in the opening parkland region, many people saw the city as a treasure chest of opportunity. The city of Yorkton officially adopted this as their motto in response. When the 2000s arrived, Yorkton had since adopted the name Promise of the Parkland. The city, though, was preparing for 3 major milestones back to back. As we can see in this photo from 2003, the city was celebrating the 75th anniversary of it becoming a city that year. In 2007, Yorkton would be celebrating the 125th anniversary of its founding. But 2005, the year square in the middle of those anniversaries, was the one that was going to be big. That year, Saskatchewan was celebrating its centennial, and the provincial government was promoting projects to celebrate it. As part of the celebrations, Yorkton decided for a facelift of its logo and motto, hiring a professional designer to create the new city logo, which is a series of stylized hexagons in the shape of a wheat sheaf. At the time, a poll was taken across the city, and the new nickname, the city where good things happen, was adopted. Today, the city maintains this nickname. A city's nicknames offer a glimpse into the community's past and how it has been seen itself to the rest of the world. Yorkton's names have run the gambit, from being a railway hub to being the center of the East to being the turkey capital of a nation. All of them, though, have one thing mirrored between them. Yorkton has a rich history of economic strength and commercial success.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. See you next time, history buffs.